This is Jessica with cutesy-crafts.com, and today I'm going to show you how to do a back stitch on a cross stitch pattern. So I already showed you how to do the cross stitch part, and then once you're finished with that, a lot of patterns have lines on them like this, and those are back stitch, and that's what these letters are here too. So I'm going to show you how to do that just on a plain piece of Aida cloth first, and then I will show you how to do that on the kite tail on this pattern here. So to start out with, I've got my embroidery floss and I've got my needle. So you know from my other video that embroidery floss is made of 6 strands of thread, and you pull out usually like 1 or 2 strands when you're stitching for cross stitch to make thinner lines. Thread one end of the embroidery floss on your needle and pull that through about 4 or 5 inches, and then we'll have the end here with no knot in it. So I'm not going to show you how to secure this in the back just yet, because normally when I'm doing a pattern, it'll have all the cross stitch already on it before I do the back stitch. So I'm going to show you just how to do the back stitch for now, and then later when I show you on the pattern, I'll show you how to secure it in the back at the beginning. So to do a back stitch, we're just going to bring our needle up through the back, and then we're going to go 1 stitch length forward. So 1 little square forward, and then you're going to bring your needle up 1 square further away, like so, and then we're going to go back in the same hole that this previous stitch went down in. And so that's why we call it the back stitch, because we're going back into that same hole from before, and you can see how that just makes a longer line. So again, skipping forward 1 stitch length, and then back into the hole that the previous stitch is coming out of. So you can choose to do the back stitch that way. So say I had a line 3 squares across, or what you could do is bring the needle up on one end and then skip over 1, 2, 3 spots, and then bring the needle down. And then you can just have a continuous line like that. It just all depends on your preference and what look you're going for. The top line looks a little bit more bumpy, and the bottom line just looks a little more smooth and continuous. If you're doing a project on clothing, for example, the top one is going to be more secure because your stitches are shorter, and the bottom one not as much. But on a project for like a wall hanging or something like that, your best bet is going to be to just do 1 continuous line. And now that's not to say that you want to make a really big line. So say I go over 10 squares, then you might have a problem where your thread is just kind of be floating on top of here, and it might get distorted very easily. So just use discretion. I would try to stay 3 or under, maybe up to 5, depending on what line I was doing and what kind of look I wanted for my project. So on my pattern today, I'm going to be showing you how to do the kite here, the string. So it's all these lines on here that are in a dark brown color. So then on the back, we see that a line in dark brown means that we are doing a back stitch. And then down here it says if we're doing a back stitch, we use 1 strand. So I'm going to change my needle out to just 1 strand of embroidery floss. Okay, so I'm going to start on the easiest part here and just do the cross on this kite here. And I would want to start on this side of the kite as opposed to this side, because this side has stitches already done, a bunch of them that I can run my thread under and secure it in the back. So I'll show you how to do that now. So I want to start my stitching in the top of this kite here. You can see the back of all my stitches, and I'm just going to take my needle. I don't have a knot or anything in it. I've got 1 strand of embroidery floss. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go under about like 4 or 5 of the stitches back here, and then just leave a little bit of a tail. And then I want it to be extra secure, so I'm going to go back again, backward 2 stitches. And so I'm going around and then back from the right to the left again, and stitch under those, give it a little tug, and then it should be pretty secure there, so I don't have to worry about the thread slipping out. And then I'm back on the front here, and my thread, the line starts at this top right corner of the kite there on that light blue X. So I bring my needle up over there. So you can see on our pattern, I've got my thread coming up here on the right, and it's crossing over through the corners of all these X's. So I could go stitch, 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 but instead I could also go all the way across, but that would be too long of a line. So I'm gonna break it up and stop here after going diagonally across 3 of the blue X's here, and bring my needle down in the hole that's at the corner of that X right there. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, and bring our needle down to start our line there. And now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more, or I can actually, it would be a better idea to start going this way and then go that way, so I can continue along with the tail after that. So I'm gonna bring it up to the top this direction. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3 that way, and bring the needle up at the top on that end. And then 1, 2, 3 down. And then the pattern is symmetrical on the other side. We'll bring our needle up on this side. And then back down in the middle. And then since we have 5 stitches that go across this way, I'm gonna break that up into 3 and 2. You probably don't have to. 5 just seems like a lot, so I'm gonna break it up. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Bring the needle back down in the middle again. And then 2 stitches over, 1, 2 diagonally. Bring it up at that end and back down where that one came out. And then you can see on the pattern here, I'm just gonna go along and look for everywhere that the line passes through. So you can see here, it passes through right here, but that's not on a corner, so that wouldn't be on a hole. So that's not ideal. I could bring my needle up there, but I don't want to if I don't have to. So I'm gonna see 1, 2, so I can go over 2, and then it comes up at a corner here. So I'll come up there, and then I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3 over and bring it up over here. And then 1, 2, 3 over and bring it there. So anywhere that you can bring the needle up and down in a hole is going to be your best bet. Sometimes you're not going to be able to do that. I'll just show you an example on here really quickly. So say you brought your needle up here and it's coming off at a weird angle this way, and it doesn't go down in a hole again until like way over here on her face for some reason. So instead of having to go and have this big long line across till you get to another hole, you can actually just, so say it passed through right here on the edge of this square here. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll just tell you what I'm doing. You could actually go down in between the 2 holes and just separate the fabric like that. And it's not ideal, but it definitely works. And you want your lines to be smooth. I think I had to do that on the little swing over here at some of the spots. So that is definitely something you can do if you have a long stitch that doesn't have any holes along the way. Okay, I finished off the tail of the kite. I still need to do the string here, but we don't want to go all the way back, or we're gonna leave a trail on the back that you can see through. So we're gonna secure our thread and start a new one. And to do that, so there's not a lot of stitches, at least cross stitches in this area. So I'm gonna go back a little bit along the back of these back stitches, just so that I don't have a thread trailing across. And then I'm gonna just do my best, go under what little stitches I do have here in the back. So we're not doing anything on the front here. And then I'm gonna go just again from right to left both times under some of those stitches again to make sure we're secure. And then just snip off the excess. And then go back here and get rid of that little tail too. And then we're done with that part. And then last but not least, I'm going to show you how to do a French knot. And there's one little French knot on the eye on this bird here. And I'll show you what that looks like on the pattern. It's just a little dot right there on the bird's eye. So we see on the back here, a dot means a French knot. It's actually a little star, I guess. And it's going to be using 2 strands of embroidery floss. So to do a French knot, again, I'm not going to be showing you how to secure it until I show you on the actual work. Bring your needle up from the back to the front in the spot that you want the knot to be. Hold on to this thread here with your non-dominant hand. I'm holding it with my left hand. And you're going to take your needle and point it away from your work and wrap the thread around once and twice, and then turn your needle back towards your work. And then instead of going back in that same hole, I'm just going to go slightly away from that. So I'm not going down in any hole, it's just going in the middle of the Aida cloth. The whole time I'm holding this tight, but not too tight, because otherwise our needle won't be able to go back down. Pull the needle to the other side. Keep holding on to this until you get about there. You can let go, and then you have a French knot. And again, bring your needle up from the back of your work to your front. Hold on to this thread with your non-dominant hand. Point the needle away from your work, wrap it around once, then twice. Turn the needle back towards your work. Put the needle down slightly away from the hole that your thread came out of. Hold this string tight the entire time. Pull the needle down. Keep hold of this till you get about here, let go, and you've got another French knot. So now that I'm doing this on my actual work, I have the backs of these other stitches to use to secure my thread. So here's the bird here. So I'm just gonna go in about the same area that the bird is in. Go under a few stitches with my needle. Leave a tail about 1 inch long there, and then go back 1-2 stitches from the right again to the left and secure that like that. And we're going to turn it over. Find the spot that your French knot is going to be and bring the needle up from the back to the front. Point my needle away, wrap it around once, twice, put it back in near that hole. Hold this thread the whole time, and voila, our little birdie has an eyeball. And that is the last thing that I needed to do on this project, and I'm done. I'm going to turn it back over. We're going to secure it the same way that we did the back stitch. Run the needle under some of the thread, go back 2, run it under again. Snip off the excess from that and that. And I am done. I have been working on this since spring, and it was supposed to be done for Easter, but that is about how my projects go these days. So super, super cute pattern. This was so fun to make. If you would also like to make this pattern, I have left a link for it in the description at the bottom of the video. This is not my pattern. It's a pattern by Tiny Modernist. So I've left a link to where you can actually buy this pattern so that you can make this cute one yourself. They have a lot of cute patterns. So I am a little bit tempted to start another one. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed these cross-stitch tutorials, and please subscribe to my channel and head over to my blog, cutesy crafts.com, for more fun craft ideas.